rotating to the hip.
New runner.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I wanted to talk about the most important factor, in my opinion, for the split jerk and for a push jerk or power jerk. And that is whether or not you're staying vertical on the dip and drive. So when you're here, whether or not you're staying vertical and whether or not that bar is going straight up and straight down. Because a lot of times as coaches, and I've been in this, I've went down this path before too, is I focus so much on the split or the landing position that it's like, oh, it's really the dip and drive that's causing that. Because if you're in this position here and you start dipping and driving forward, it doesn't matter if you have a really good split. If you into the toes, now the bar's going forward, right? The bar is pushed so far away from your center, which would be back here, because the dip and drive, you went down into the toes, drove forward, it's driving away from your power. So the split's already at a huge disadvantage because you're driving it away from your center, from your power, right? Where what we want to see is from a side profile, and that's where I would recommend videoing yourself from to check this out, just like I am now, seeing if your dip and drive is straight down, straight up. That way when you actually go into the split, it's right over your power. It's not down into the toes, forward, where you're then chasing it forward. So that's the big thing with the jerk, is making sure you can dip and drive torso vertical into the heels and straight up, as opposed to driving that bar forward, where you're gonna have to chase it. And then also, of course, if you're dipping into the toes and you're forward, you're gonna be decelerating, slowing down so you don't tip over in the dip and drive, as opposed to accelerating, getting faster at the turnaround point if you're sitting into the heels. Yeah, so just check that video from the side profile. Make sure you're vertical, make sure the bar path's up and down. And if you're not, I would recommend putting your feet a little wider. So instead of being here, maybe being here, and put your toes out a little more. Because that way it'll give your knees a little more room to track over your toes, and you'll be a little bit wider stance. We're, in general, just like squatting, the more narrow we are, the sooner we're gonna come up onto our toes and off our heels. Where the wider we go, we're able to sit back a little easier with the hips between the legs, as opposed to kind of on top of the legs. So if you're having that issue where you are going forward, try widening your feet out just a little bit in the dip, and then point your toes out a little bit. That way you can dip into this position, rather than maybe what's likely happening, which is straight forward and then launching it forward. All right, guys, hope that helps.